Have you ever wondered what it would be like to be a software developer and to write code every day? Today, I'm interviewing my friend Caleb Yu, who just so happens to be a software developer, and I will hopefully be asking him all the questions that you guys would be asking him if he was standing in front of you. We're going to pick his brain so that we can figure out what a day in the life of a software developer actually looks like, and hopefully help you decide if that's something that you'd be interested in. How did you get to where you are now?
First off, hi everyone. I'm Caleb Yu. I've been a software developer for 3 years. I work at a company called FSSI. Growing up, I didn't have the only really influence I had growing up for uh, software development would be just growing up in the era of video games. Pretty much, I did not have a major for my up until my sophomore year in college. I was I'm forgetting the term right now, but like
Undeclared.
undeclared. That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. I was undeclared for 2 years, and I was okay with math, but I didn't really want to do like math sort of thing, and I kind of liked uh, creative writing a little bit, but that the sort of tedium of that also didn't appeal to me, and so eventually I ended up deciding to go into computer science and try that out, and I found out that I really enjoyed it, and so I kept with it. Graduated with uh, bachelor's in computer science. Actually, I'm still at my first job. I've been at the same job for about 3 years now, and was very fortunate and very blessed enough to um, get that job um, through actually another church that I was attending to at the time. They brought me on, and I've been working for them ever since. FSSI, which stands for Financial Statement Services Incorporated.
You were in college, you were undeclared until your sophomore year,
That's right.
and you tried out computer science, you liked it, and you went for it.
Yep.
When did you walk me through like the practical steps? Like if someone was to want to walk that same path you walked, did you get any types of certifications? Did you focus on specific coding language? When did you start applying for jobs? Did you do internships?
I did not go for any certifications post college, even though those are definitely recommended. I would say I was fortunate enough to get a job within like the year I graduated. I would say if I had not, I probably would have spent more time studying for those certifications. There's many out there that you can take, but the thing with those, from my research, is that those certifications are really good to have on your resume for a specific task to fulfill a specific job role. As far as the path of like if you're still in college, whatnot, and want to go into this, I would definitely focus on practicing learning coding languages. It's not the biggest takeaway for me from college is not the languages that you know necessarily, even though that is nice to put that on your resume. It is how quickly can you pick up a coding language. So
Mm,
familiarizing yourself with the general concepts of coding, how code works, and being able to then, even if you switch from like Python to Java to C# and whatnot, you have those concepts. If you have those concepts ingrained, it makes it picking up that coding language easier.
right.
Something really interesting at my job was where I currently work. They mainly code in C#, language C#. Now, when I first applied and accepted that position, my knowledge of C# was actually very limited. But because of what I learned in college, I was able to actually pick up C# within, I would say, 2 weeks of being in the company, and being able to step in and help. For me, from college, the biggest takeaway is was teaching myself how to learn. No one ever writes in like machine learning or like the like basic machine code these days,
Right.
or like C anymore. So all that, like the specifics of like, oh, I know how to code in C, that's kind of outdated and won't really get you anywhere. But being able to pick up C within like a week,
Mm.
that's great, because and there's a ton of new coding languages always coming out all the time. The technology curve that we're on has been increasing rapidly, and so it's more valuable to pick up the skills to learn a new language quickly than it is to, all right, I'm gonna study these three languages, right, and do nothing else, sort of thing.
Yeah, I've found the same thing with IT. It's not necessarily about what tools you know because, every place you go, it's going to be something different, but
Right,
they're the same kind of tool. So
right,
if you understand that tool and the
yeah,
context behind it and how it's supposed to work, you can learn a different version of it very quickly. So you work for CFSI,
or FSSI.
FSSI.
Yeah,
What kind of company are they?
they are a mailing, and it stands for Financial Statement Services Incorporated. So um, my company does financial statements, if that makes sense. We do
Hmm.
anything from bills to notices to letters. We partner with a lot of different clients that are usually bank unions, but can be anywhere from government to private. We do in-house built custom applications that design um, uh, letters for bankings, credit unions, that sort of stuff.
So you generate not just templates, but the software they use to throw their list of names into those templates and
Yep.
everything else.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Walk me through an average day at your work. Like, I'm sure a lot of people watching are wondering, how the heck do I know if I really want to be a software developer? Because it seems like a lot of work, it's a lot of commitment, and how am I going to know if I'm actually going to enjoy this job? So walk me through like an average day at work.
An average day for me would probably be we have a queue of work requests, and so because part of our job is not only developing and designing these applications, but it's also maintaining them for the future. Um, so it's either updates. You can kind of think of it like games nowadays have frequent updates and bug fixes and patches. So we're kind of in there. Some days are dealing with debugging, being like, oh, there's something that broke for this particular module, and we need someone to research it and provide a fix.
Hmm.
And other days it is like, hey, we're taking on a new client, we need a new application. How are we going to plan out how we're going to develop and build this? Each day is a new challenge.
Hmm.
Um, so I do like the fact that sort of it's not necessarily doing the same thing 24/7. Most of my days are spent, for the first hour or so, I will be compiling the requests that I have into a list and plan out my items for the day. All right, what do I need to get to, as well as um, coordinating with the IT coordinators or project managers that I have, as well as any other departments that do I need information from them? Do I need to ask for information from about an issue with the file from the client, or do I need, you know, um, one other department to provide me information for some of this so I can resolve whatever issue or build whatever I need. So it's kind of so first hour is trying to sort of plan out the day,
Right.
try to get the tools that
Like
I need to finish all
administrative
those tasks. Yeah,
organization type stuff.
yeah. And then the rest of the day usually is spent working on those tasks and sometimes even resolving ones that come in urgently. There's sometimes an urgent request that comes in and they say, hey, you need to put this as the priority. And so I need to sort of readjust and move over to that task.
Would you say, like, if you had to assign percentages to amount of time you spend staring at a computer screen versus the amount of time you spend interacting with coworkers, because you don't really interact with clients, do you?
Very rarely.
Okay. And maybe like
Very rarely.
emails or something.
Yeah,
Okay.
sometimes face to face if we need like a client, like a if we really are pressed for some sort of information or something.
Right.
But yes,
Okay. So if you had to put a
usually that's
percentage on computer screen time versus teammates or bosses time on average.
I would say 20 80 spent on screen time,
Okay.
20% sort of interacting with other people.
What languages did you know? I know you said that learn to code or learning
Hmm.
to learn is more important than what languages you know. But what
Hmm.
languages did you feel like you had a firm grasp on when you started this job, and what do you know now? What's been the most useful to you?
When I started this job, I knew Java, I knew C++, I knew Python, um, generally just the fresh out of college sort of basics. Dabbled a little bit with HTML,
Hmm.
a little bit with SQL and whatnot. Um, and as of right now, I didn't use any of that for my job. I'm now coding in C sharp. I've gotten better at SQL because I sometimes have to deal with some database stuff.
Yeah.
Um, I let's see. Oh, Git is very important for
Mm.
version control,
Hmm.
and I I I pretty much assume that like within a software development job that there is probably a cloud repository,
Yeah.
a Git repository. So, and it may not be necessarily a coding language, but it is definitely a tool.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it'd be worth it to learn GitHub
Yeah,
because no matter where you
definitely.
go, you're probably going to end up using GitHub if you're working in software.
I would say so.
So what was something you did not expect? What's something that caught you off guard about becoming a software developer?
Um, kind of tying back to what you were commenting about before, because that was kind of my answer for this was I did not expect how deep and the breadth of the field that computer science and
Mm,
sort of coding covers.
yeah,
Sort of, everything from, getting a notification on your phone to, the uh, calculations needed to launch a rocket or something like that. Like the breadth of what you can do with software, um, I think kind of astounded me because when I first came in, I was like, oh, maybe I'll try making video games, and um, and I thought that was kind of like the main thing that code was used for. I was like, oh,
yeah,
make video games, but
yeah,
there's so much, and there's so much more because of the curve of technology that is continuing to be built faster and faster uh, within this day and age.
yep,
There's more and more things relying on software,
yep.
and so that kind of astounded me. Yeah.
What's your favorite part of your job? We'll start with that. What's your
All
favorite
right.
part of your job?
Favorite part of my job um, is, I would say, yeah, being able to build things. I think there's a extent of and a creativity that
Mm,
comes with coding and being able to build something and make and tell this computer to run this and craft something, and seeing sort of that process from like these lines of code to a beautiful statement of where all of it's calculated, all of it's done, all the numbers are correct,
mm,
the uh, um, all the design elements are all there. I think that's really awesome to see, sort of like from the final product. I would say, if you're going to, um, if you're kind of wondering if you're going to like software development, that sort of thing. To be honest, I kind of view this field um, as being able to solve puzzles. If you
mm.
like problem solving, if you like being able to say, all right, here's all my puzzle pieces, and you being able to like build a unique solution to that, I think you'll enjoy software development in that regard.
What is your least favorite part of your current job?
Ooh. My least favorite part for my current job is when people put in puzzle pieces that don't fit. In a sense, I would say my least favorite part of my job is probably does have to deal with, and I feel like this is it is kind of cliche, but it is sort of you know um, communication, um, when things don't arrive on time, or if I'm like waiting for a certain piece and there, but another department's like, oh, but we need you to have it built now, and I'm like, I'm still waiting on this one piece before I
Mm,
finish building it. I would say between that and I actually do not. I am very introverted, and I feel like um, the times that I have had to talk to clients were probably my least favorite part,
mm,
and I think it's also mainly because that's not part of my job description, sort of thing. Like when they bring me on, there's already the the relay for information for our company is there's two people ahead of me that should be talking to the client
right,
before it gets
right.
that should be relaying the information that I need from me.
That's what
So
I
it's
do.
kind of out of exactly right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
So you have level
having to
one and
take
level
over that.
two, and then if level two can't figure it out, or if it's a widespread high priority issue, I'm assuming they
Right,
would put in a ticket with the developers, and that's
right,
what comes to your work queue, and you say, okay, I got to figure out this bug.
right.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
when sometimes they skip the process and be like, oh, let's just go directly to the developer, and I'm like, well, gotta we have this process for a reason,
Right.
thing, right?
Because
So
yeah, yeah. Even at level
yeah,
one, you will see, and I'm speaking from experience here, you will find that depending on the company and depending on the person, anywhere from 20 to 80% of the issues you get are user error, right? It's the users
right,
not doing something correctly, and that's why the technology is not working, right?
right,
So level one's supposed to filter that out, and then if it's a real issue, technical, something's broken,
right,
maybe hardware, software, a network connection, whatever. If level one can't solve it, then it goes to level two, and level two is supposed to be the experienced one that knows all the technology inside and out, knows the system, knows the client's network, and
right,
if they determine that it's a software bug, there's something wrong with our product, right?
right,
In your case, your templates or whatever, then they would put in a ticket with you.
right, exactly. And so it is frustrating when things skip immediately,
Yeah,
to level two, and be like, oh, can you fix it? And I'm like, well, now I have to take time out of the queue for the other things that have gone through the process,
right,
and are on my queue, right?
right.
So
And there's a chance you could be wasting your time if they were
if it was a
incorrect.
user error, right?
Exactly,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And
exactly. I feel like we gave accidentally gave a really good idea to some people that may not know of what the kind of escalation process and workflow looks like,
right,
and
right, and
where you and I sit on that.
right, and it varies from company to company, but that is
That's
like a
true.
general idea
Yeah,
of
that's
that's sort
true.
of
Well,
escalation process for
that's the
issues.
yeah, that's the experience that I've gotten when because I when I was on help desk, I would call their support people because we were utilizing products for monitoring and alerting and things like that weren't working correctly. And so I would basically call those companies, and it was the same thing. It was level one, level two, and then okay, level two puts in a ticket with development, and then I never hear back from them. And do you mind if I ask what your salary range is right now?
I would say my salary range is 80 to 100.
Okay, and
Hmm.
that's so you got a
Yeah.
bachelor's
Hmm.
and 3 years at the same place,
Hmm.
and you're making between 80 and 100K.
Yeah. Hmm.
That's pretty great. That's pretty good. So I'm sure there'll be a lot of people that will want to follow in your
Yeah.
footsteps and
I mean, it's with anything. It is hard work. It is
mm-hmm.
something that you've got to sort of set your mind to it and gear towards and go through it. But at the same time, I think that coding is a skill that anyone can pick up with time and effort,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And not to mention, I'm on the sort of coding side, but I think an even uh, bigger and more accessible field would probably also be web development,
Mm,
um, uh,
mm-hmm,
especially with the release like 2 years ago of HTML5.
mm-hmm.
It is a prime time for people who are looking to kind of get into coding but want to be on a more front end or more creative side, web development is a great field to go into right now. I've only dabbled within it a little bit, but I have a bunch of friends who have sort of gotten into that through other ways like graphic design and whatnot.
Nice. What if someone was going to learn any language right now? What language would you have them learn?
Ooh, starting off as a complete
Knowing nothing. Yeah. No,
no
let's
nothing,
say
right?
knowing
Yeah,
nothing.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Python or Java. I
Okay.
think those are the easiest to sort of break down um, and uh, and I think they're very accessible. You can write Python in Notepad um, uh, and try to run it and try to see. But and the biggest thing is don't be afraid to play around with it.
Mm,
In order on your process of learning,
mm,
like you there is that sort of fun mindset to be like test like, oh, what do I do this, oh, it breaks it this way, or oh, what happens if I do this, what if I use this word or something.
yeah.
So I would say have fun with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, while you're
That's good
learning.
advice for learning in general, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're
Yeah,
enjoying yourself, you're more likely to stick with it and
definitely. Yeah, find a safe place where you can be like, all right, I'm just gonna mess around with things for a little bit.
right.
It doesn't have to be strict or regimented or whatnot. Just be like, I'm gonna fiddle with with these couple of concepts for a couple of days and see what happens.
Did you have coding experience before you went to college?
I did not.
Okay. So everything
Mhm.
you knew you learned in school, and
Yes.
then most of
Yes.
basically, if not all of what you know now, you learned at your job.
Yes. Hmm.
Yeah. So okay. So that should be an encouragement, right, to students to know that, like, yes,
Absolutely.
you want to do good in school and you want to learn because you're learning how to learn,
Right.
and you're learning the concepts and the fundamentals that will help you acquire what you need at work more quickly.
Right.
Thank you for joining me in this YouTube video and sharing some of your experience as a software developer and what you have to bring to the table.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you guys for watching, and thanks again to Caleb Yu for letting us pick his brain a little bit on what it looks like to be a software developer. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.